Hi, creative artists. It's your girl Pauline, and thank you for tuning in to another episode. Help us continue to share the beautiful world of art by liking, sharing, and subscribing. And in today's artist discussion, we feature world-class entertainer Wendy Barnes-Farrell. So with no further ado, let's jump right in. All right, so here, as we segue into the next phase of our interview, Wendy, for those of you who really don't know her accolades and where this international entertainer comes from, we're about to go into that a little bit more.
It is a difficult thing, I will say to the audience, to talk about yourself and your accolades, because we don't want to sound as if we are bragging. But any other profession, you know, they'll show you everything. But for an artist, because people think that we do this for the applause happens to be a kind of a reward. But the work that we do it anyway.
Right.
If we never got an accolade, you know, it's a burning passion. Because I was always singing and being creative, and they would look at me like I was, woo, will she ever shut up? And I tell people that story, and they say, we're glad you didn't stop.
I'm glad.
So,
and right now you're evading going into your accolades. You just told us all that to not do it. And I'm sitting here going, okay, I'm not going to interrupt her. I'm going to let her have that moment. But at some point, I'm going to have to drag these accolades out of her, because I want everybody to know. And again, you know, this is Wendy's interview. So therefore, we want to hear you brag. We want to hear you tell it.
Well, I don't have a lot of awards and stuff, but I have had a lot of opportunities and discoveries of people discovering me over the years. And most of my jobs were gotten through word of mouth. So I didn't go out pursuing a lot of things. I was actually pursued to do things. I was offered this award, and it's very heavy.
Okay, is that the one? There it is. Oh my gosh, yes. And what is that?
It's called the Hal Award. It is called the Hal Award. It means Heroes and Legends Award. Wow. I was awarded this in 2009 for theater excellence. It is so heavy, guys.
Oh my goodness.
And that evening was very exciting because the other awardees that evening were George Clinton, H.V. Barnum, Wesley Snipes, Eddie Levert, and Clarence Avant, the godfather of music. So I was in very good company that night.
Yes, you were.
This beautiful award was presented to me by my church, Los Angeles Third Church of Religious Science, Reverend Lisa Meggs. And it was presented to me because I'm going to read what it says.
Okay.
Sunday, July 3rd, 2011, you were moved by God to give our children the gift of song. Singing builds self-awareness and confidence, allowing greater freedom for self-expression. On Sunday, November 20th, 2011, the children shared their gift with the community of Los Angeles for the very first time with our greatest gratitude. And it's the church.
You worked for a number of years with, I don't even know, I'm just Stevie Wonder. And you...
Guru.
You know, he's Stevie Wonder. What can we say?
Well, let me start by saying how he found me. This is just a really interesting story. My first big gig back in Chicago was I was opening act for Red Foxx. Go figure. I got a phone call from Red Fox's office asking me to come back and be a part of the Richard Pryor Burn Telethon. And that's got a phone call from a friend of mine named Larry Ball. He said, Stevie Wonder came on the air and they announced on television that he's looking for you. I said, hold on. And it was my friend Nadine Scott McKenna who wrote This Christmas for Donny Hathaway. So Nadine is like, Wendy, Stevie Wonder's looking for you. He wants to know. I said, whoa, this is for real, huh? So Herb Kent, the Cool Gent, was putting a contest, looking for a contest for a singer. And I was like, wow, I should go get that money. So I said, I invited 2 friends of my brothers. We go to this little club. And so he says, come up, sign in. And I said I was a housewife. I used another name. I said, I'm a housewife. But at that time, I was already a professional singer, but not with Julio. I had sung with Red and different things, right? So, girl, I started noticing these people going up there with tracks and singing, and I didn't have anything, nothing, no music. I said, I'm going to have to sing a cappella. I don't even know what I'm going to sing.
Oh, my goodness.
Hadn't even occurred to me. So now it's time for me to sing. And I'm thinking, because I kept thinking, what are you going to sing? And I'm sitting there and everybody's around having drinks, but I'm in my head going, ooh, you're going to have to go up in a few minutes. And guess what came to me? A change is going to come.
Oh.
So that's what I sang. And then I remember how my sister used to say, get down on your knees when you do stuff and do it. And so when I said my brother come to me and I jumped down, knock me down on my bended knees. Oh, and I was into it, right?
Yes.
So when he lined us all up, it was like Apollo. When they got to me, everybody went crazy. He said, you're the winner.
Yes.
I won $350 that night, right? So I was like, whoa, this was amazing. So now, before I went to sing that night, I got a call from this man named Peter Palullo. I've never met him since, never found him since. He called and said, I'm Stevie Wonder's attorney, and I play golf with the piano player's father in New York. I'm going to make sure that Stevie gets in touch with you. You should hear from him by Thursday.
Wow.
Again, I didn't get it. Wow. I was like, okay, yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Right? So now, the contest was Wednesday. The next day was Thursday. I'm sitting on my mother's bed in her bedroom, and I'm telling her about the previous night. And the phone rings. And it's a lady named Stephanie Andrews. She said, hi, is this Wendy? I like, yes. She said, I'm calling from Stevie Wonder's office. So I said to my mom, I covered the phone. I said, somebody call me Stevie Wonder. Yes. What can I do for you? She said, Stevie would like to see you Friday. Now, remind you, this is Thursday. I said, I'm in Chicago. She said, we have a ticket waiting for you. And can you make it? I said, hold on. I said, oh, yes, I think that'll be fine. So she says, well, we'll send a car to pick you up. What will you be wearing? I said, a hot pink pantsuit with a turquoise shell underneath, right? So I fly the next day back where I live in LA, but I fly back home. And first thing they do is they take me to meet Stevie because he's in this big, long trailer truck recording. And so I come in and I meet him. He takes my hand and he says to me, you know, you were born on the same day as Sarita Wright, my ex-wife. And I said, no, I didn't know that. But what I wanted to say was, how do you know my birthday? So, you know, so he said, well, there's a rehearsal tonight with the band. So I went to rehearse with the band. On 2 days later, which was Sunday, we had a show at the Roxy Theater. And guess who was sitting front and center of me? Now, mind you, I didn't really have a rehearsal. And I had to learn 17 songs.
Wow.
Diana Ross, Berry Gordy, and Michael Jackson were sitting directly in front of me on my first gig with Stevie. Now I'm nervous. That got me a little nervous.
Okay. And now there is somebody that I just really have to let my viewing audiences hear because at a point in time, he was number one in the world, the entire world as we know it. And a lot of people may not realize how much incredible power he had in the music industry and how many records he sold worldwide. Ooh. And you have been with him for a number of years also. So I'm not even going to spoil it here. I'm going to let you go ahead and tell us who that person is.
Yes. For 7 years, I toured with Julio Iglesias. And
Julio Iglesias, y'all. Yes.
Yeah, he was amazing. He adored me, my girls, my family. I would bring them when we would go to Spain to different places. My husband would travel, my daughters. And one day we were in the dressing room, me and my 2 daughters, and we were singing. At the time, they were kids. We were singing You've Got a Friend. He had never heard it. He didn't know what they sang. So he came into the dressing room where we were. He said, "My God, I love it. I want to put you on the show tonight. Oh my God, come on, we go rehearse it." So we came out and he started rehearsing it with the band. You've Got a Friend. And that night we actually performed that song and Julio sang backup for us. And I have recordings of that. I have pictures of that. And it's like, and my daughter, Amira, was like 10. I cannot tell you the joy of singing with my 2 girls. And we were like in front of 30,000 people. So when we got out and we were going home, because her name is Amira, she was the star of the night. We couldn't walk out without being, Amira, Amira, Amira. They just waving and yelling and screaming and da-da-da-da. And me and Sonny looked at each other and we said, we're not going to be able to get her head through the door at the hotel. He was the executive producer on my debut CD. And when we would go and stay at his home, he would drive me and my girls around in his Bentley. He would drive us around town. And I was
wow, I want to work with somebody like that. Let me get a boss.
We only flew in his private jet. We only on his private jet. And I had to leave him after about 7 years because my dad was suffering from dementia in Chicago. And I brought him to live with me until he passed away. And then at that time, Amira was like about 14, 15, and she was starting to need mommy at home. So I had to leave. We cried that whole night, me and the other 2 girls. When I told them I had to leave, we just all cried and cried and cried.
Yes, and I'm going to definitely put up some stuff for the viewing audience and they can see it. Now, there's one more thing that you shared with me already. I have them, and it's a trip to Senegal.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. In 2016 and 2018, I was invited to headline a jazz festival in Senegal. And I was excited to go. The first time was, our people do things very differently than we. And that was just revealing to me. And then when one of the brothers said, "Welcome home, my sister, welcome home," I mean, I literally cried.
Wow.
It was an experience that I had yearned for my whole life, and finally going and with a purpose in mind. But I went back again in 2018 and did the festival again. And by then it had improved. And Amadou is the producer. Amadou brought me over, and his mission and his vision was to bring jazz music to Africa.
Wow.
So I know one of the pictures I sent to you was me standing in the doorway of what's called the Door of No Return. And I all I can say is I cried.
What is that door? That's when they took them to slavery on the ships. Isn't that one of the...
From that door, you never came back. You got on the boats and that was it. But the ships, I should say. And there were many, 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 many trips and many, many, many ships that took us away. And and I noticed that me and the musicians, we took it so hard. You don't realize how sensitive people who do art are, I thought I was so tough, but man, it broke me down hard. It broke me down hard to see the shackles and the things in the cases so you can look at them, and then the little bitty tunnels where they kept them in this. It was heart-wrenching.
You can feel that from the picture that you sent me as you're standing in the doorway. It's a dark picture. Trust me when I say, without knowing the story, as I'm just hearing it right now, I could feel something spiritual or something deep going on with you standing in that doorway. It wasn't just another picture of you just standing there in a doorway.
I always wondered how I would feel. And I can't express the real feeling of it, but like every cell in my body, every ounce of me was changed at that moment. Everything about me changed. That's all I can say.
It's a life-changing moment.
Yeah.
So
let me talk about Michael Bolton, because
tell me about when a man loves a woman.
Woo! Honey. Because I had heard his music before I knew he was even not a black man. I thought he was a
brother
black
had
singer.
A lot of soul in him.
Oh my God. And it was the best time ever I had traveling with him. He and I, so I did that video, Georgia, and that's when I met him. And I just walked up to, I used to be very bold. I probably still am. And I was just very bold because I didn't have an agent, a manager. So I just walked up to him and said, wow, you know what? I want to go on the road when you go on the road. I want to go on the road with you, right? And so he just looked at me and he said, well, go over there and talk to my manager. We're on set because it was like 3 days of shooting for that video. And so I went over to Michael Levine was his name. And I said, hey, I want to go. He said, okay, we'll call you when we're there. It was only 2 months later. He came back and he said, called me up and said, we want you to come down and audition for Michael to go on the road. I'm like, okay. So I went and bought his little DVD and looked at it and fixed up like I thought I went down to play the part. So they just kept me down there for a long time. Like, usually you're in and out. I'm down there now. It's an hour and a half. And they just keep bringing in more people and having me sing with all these people. So then finally, I didn't see Michael at all. So finally, Michael comes in and said, Wendy, we are 98% with you. We just trying to find somebody to match you. I just want you to know that. So I said, oh, okay.
Okay, now that you put it that way, I can stay another hour. No, another 2 days.
So Pat Hawk, a blonde girl, he ended up going with her, and her brother is Tony Hawk. He's an amazing skateboarder, very famous. Oh,
that's Tony Hawk's sister?
Pat Hawk. So it was
a singer?
Just the 2 of us. Yeah, she's a singer.
Trivia.
And so just the 2 of us were the background singers. And so when I first told him I wanted to go on the road with him, I said, and also I heard the duet that you sing, and I want to do a duet with you too, like that. And he really laughed. That's my first.
Wow.
Well, I ended up doing that steamy duet with him, and it stopped the show every night. It was called We're Not Making Love Anymore.
Oh, yeah.
It stopped the show every night, and Michael Bolton, everybody in that group was the exact same age. Everybody in that group were vegetarians. Everybody in that group, I'm talking about every member, every band member, everybody nobody smoked. So I was in heaven until we went to New York to do Saturday Night Live, and a girl walked up to me with her card from Sony Records, and she walked up to me and said, Julio Iglesias is looking for a black singer. I didn't even know who Julio Iglesias was.
Oh, I even knew who he was, and I'm not.
But this was years ago. This was years ago. This was in the 90s.
Okay.
So I take the card and I go, okay, whatever. Here we go. So that's how I got with Julio. He had auditioned, they tell me, 2 years. They said 2,000, but I can't believe it was 2,000. So I just say 200 girls he saw until he met me, and he hired me like that. Yeah.
And look at what a whirlwind, amazing journey that you went on because of that. So life just takes us. That's why I said, just jump right in, be passionate about whatever you do. and the rest will follow, because your life has been an amazing, incredible journey. And I'm so grateful to have you share it with us today. And you know,
welcome.
Part of that journey is when I decided to start Creative Artists Magazine, I met a wonderful lady. Her name is Gail Johnson, and she's the co-founder of Jazz in Pink.
Yes.
And Gail is how I know you. This chain connection thing that goes on, I'm getting chill bumps now because that's my
we
girl.
love Gail.
I love, look, everybody know I got to do this at least once in a video. Here it is. It's for Gail. I am so grateful that I was able to know Gail, to be able to be introduced to you, Wendy.
Yes, Gail is my musical director, and
yes, she's amazing. Just love her. She's so humble, though. Gosh,
she's
darn.
Sweet, super talented, and humble, and very giving. And we've done many projects together. So I hope that relationship continues forever.
Yeah, I'm not going to lose my relationship with Gail. I don't care what it takes. I'm going to keep it going, because she's truly a blessing to have as a friend and to know as a human being. And then also another chain link connection, because I believe in that. We're all connected for all these beautiful things that exist, and we tap into it with positive vibes and things like that. You know, we don't have time for the nonsense. Is Mark Ridley, and you sang the theme song for his latest powerful Within 8 Hours short film. That is an explosive, dynamite film, and you play the character. Tell me about that.
Aunt Jazzy.
Auntie Jazzy.
And I was thrilled. The movie is impactful. So
extremely. I promise you, I'm not just saying this. Ooh. You have to watch Within 8 Hours. You think you know, but you won't know until the very end. Everything. It just keeps taking you on. It's a multiple ride.
Yes. He's brilliant that way.
Yes.
He's brilliant that way. He really is. Yeah. So I'm pleased to have met him, and his lovely counterpart, Ava. I love her too.
I love her too.
And you all met at my birthday party, and I was happy for that. And you got on it right away. You are a doer, and I like that. I really love that about you. You're the same way. You know, like you say you're going to do it, you actually do it and deliver.
Yes. Yeah. I got that from my mama, though. Mm-hmm. She's a doer. She's definitely a doer. So it comes from someplace too.
Yes.
And then now, also, you wrote that song. Tell me about your feelings when you wrote that song for Within 8 Hours, because you're a songwriter as well as a singer and vocalist and so on. You also write music, correct? And you did something for our friends too.
The song is called Enough is Enough. And
for Mark's
from Within 8 Hours. And I wrote it that night after we did the shoot, and just really couldn't sleep. And I tell people a lot of times I can't really take the credit for writing, because the songs just kind of, I can just open up my mouth and it sings itself. It just comes out. And it's like, I can't even explain it. The idea is there, and it just comes through me. I'm the vehicle. Yeah. Let's talk about something that I don't know if you were going to plan to talk about. Let's talk about this.
I didn't know she was going to do this, you guys. Look, thank you so much.
Let's talk about your beautiful magazine.
Thank you.
Creative Artists Magazine. This is her latest work. It's sharing the beautiful world of art. And that is beautiful Pauline Samuels.
Thank you.
And
the cover is where I showcase a little art.
She didn't really know me, but look at what she did. Pow!
Hey, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
She did this for me. You must get this. And she will list where you can get this magazine.
Yes,
it's only like $15 or something like that. But this lady does this work from the bottom of her heart. She's not really being paid in anything. It's just her life's passion. And I thank her on behalf of all the artists who get featured in her book. It's beautifully done. I mean, this is just awesome. This is not some little low stuff. It's beautiful. And she gives everybody their due. And she features all types of art. It was some art in here that I was like, ooh, can I put this in a frame? I mean, oh my God, the creative people in here. She even has a picture of Gail Johnson.
Yeah, well, you know what, Gail.
Sexy picture right there.
Isn't that sexy? She's just absolutely delicious on that picture.
My God.
I gave the photo guy his credit on that picture because that is just a beautiful shot. She had good work. Yeah. So we have Dazzle Jam. Book. I'm going to give the artists in there a shout out. We have Dazzle Jam. We have Aprajita Lal, my watercolor. We have Denise Lucas. She's the chalk artist. And we have Marco Salazar. He does these huge citywide murals. We have you, of course, and Gail in there. And then what I did is I featured, that's Aprajita. Oh my gosh, her work is absolutely amazing. She does vibrant watercolors because, you know, watercolors are usually watery and real pastel. She puts a vibrancy in watercolors. I'm speechless. And she's a wonderful human being on the inside as well. It's like, stop.
It's crazy. Awesome. It's crazy. And the girl that does the chalk.
Yes, that's chalk. She sees those things. She sees them in her environment and she just goes to work and takes her time. It's therapy. It's hobby. It's beautiful. And now it's her life's work and her passion. Denise Lucas. And she's also a fish angler, her and her husband, her family. They're fish anglers. So if she's not...
What does that mean, a fish angler?
They are avid, daily fisher people. And a lot of it's catch and release, but they go to different places and they're, I believe they partake in tournaments and stuff like that too.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
amazing.
The fishing family. Mm-hmm. And then I had two guys, and I just want to mention this, that was featured in my digital issue last summer. It's Roy Nielsen, he's a glass artist, and Jonathan Hunt. Now, Jonathan and Roy both had studios here locally, and due to COVID-19, Jonathan had to close his studio, and he was doing a good service for other artists by, you know, helping artists. He was doing that good work. So it really hurt me. So I said, let me put him in the book as a revisit to now that we're in print, and they, you know, just to help them out too, because having to close because your doors are being forced closed was really tough. And the environment was kind of small. So it was impossible. You had, 4 people at a time come in with a mask on. It wasn't going to work. And it just hurts me when I see that passionate artists have those hard licks. You know, everyone has that struggle now. So that's why I'm kicking it up to high gear to keep our art alive. Art is needed. And Wendy, I just want to thank you for this interview today and for sharing all your wonderful stories with myself and my viewers. And just can't wait to see what's coming up next. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much. I enjoyed running my mouth. You all got a mouthful today, so she probably can cut some of this stuff.
Not going to cut any of it out because it was all amazing. It's good conversations. It's good stories, and they're exciting. I enjoyed myself thoroughly. I did. And if you need voice lessons, Wendy is a real vocal coach and can get you going in a few short lessons. And I'm going to have that information up now as well as before. And also, if you'd like to help her with the helping out with her nonprofit, which the information should be going across the screen as well, please do. And head over to Creative Artist Magazine and get your Creative Artist Magazine and merchandise. And also, please give us a like, subscribe, and ring any of the notification bells that you might see for our endeavors here at Creative Artists Magazine.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Bye now.
I appreciate you. Bye.
Okay.
Peace.
Could you move your fingers with it so I know which direction I'm going in?
Yes. I
am singing.
Ooh, and I like it. And got that vibrato going. Very good, Pauline. Excellent.
Thank you so much.
I am singing.
I love it. I am singing.
All right. Get a little jazz in there.
Singing.
Singing. Okay. So you can call me for your next lesson.
Absolutely. Next thing you know, I'm going to be putting out me a track.
Hello. For real. For real.
Okay.
It's
look
simple.
in the future, everybody. After my lessons get through with Wendy here, I'm going to put out a track. I love it. Thank you so much for my very first vocal lessons from a professional coach. I appreciate it. And I'm going to put up all the information on how anybody can get in touch with you and to be able to get their own vocal lessons started. Because
Absolutely.
who doesn't want to sing? Even if you're singing alone, I mean, you know.
I feel good when I sing, and hopefully people feel good when they listen to me sing. So it's like a win-win.
Yes. Well, I know people feel good when they listen to you because at your birthday party, as so many people have already seen on the number of videos I've put out, you performed to a socially distant party, and there was a whole neighborhood out, and everyone was just thoroughly enjoying themselves, and just you put us all in that moment. You took us on a journey. It was beautiful.
It was so fun, right?
It was absolutely
And we
fun.
jumped double dutch.
Oh my gosh, because I'm from Maryland. I'm from DC. I'm back East girl. And so we did that every day. And I couldn't believe it. I was gonna leave actually. And I turned back and I saw double dutch. And I'm like, oh no, let's do it. Because I'm a big kid at heart. Mm-hmm.
You and I were like the best ones, right? For real.
Well, because
I mean, we were.
You were the queen, though. Yeah, I was a bit rusty. You actually jumped the longest. Yeah.
Well, you know, it was my party. I had to.
Yeah. And then the shocker was a neighbor. I wish I had that footage. The neighbor, a guy that came over. Remember?
Yes.
He came over and he said he wanted to turn. He actually did really good.
He did really well. We even had Mark Ridley jumping.
Oh my goodness. Yes, we did. We had everybody jump. Okay, maybe we'll be able to post that up on this video here.
Yes.
We'll see how it turns out in the editing room. And Wendy just brought out the child and all of us. She had a bubble machine going, and then you had entertainment by Chazzy Green. And
yes,
that was awesome.
Great saxophonist. He was killing it. Yes.
And personality as he, talked to the crowd and kept us engaged and
yes.
And he's a professional.
Yes. He and I have done shows together for many years. Over the years, Chazzy has always been wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just definitely want to give Chazzy Green a major shout out because you and I believe I have some footage that I'm going to go ahead and put up as well of Chazzy's performance.
Good.
So we'll be able to get that going too.
Happy birthday, Wendy!
Baby, you're all right. Just in case.
Chazzy Green.
Don't make it home tonight. Let me make it to the last time, baby.
You wrote that?
I did. I wrote this song, but we have a gentleman here. His name is Mark Ridley, and he is the writer and film director of a piece that this song is a part of the song track. It's entitled Within 8 Hours, and it's a short film, and this is the man that did it, and it's marvelous. It's wonderful. So I got an opportunity to act in the film.
Yes, you did.
I played a character named Aunt Jazzy. Hey. And when I came home after we did the film shoot, I couldn't sleep, and I woke up in the middle of the night at about 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I went upstairs and I started, the song sang itself out of my mouth. I just opened my mouth, and because of the scene that takes place, I just went upstairs and the song just sang itself, I swear to you.
We're going to talk about something very near and dear to your heart. And Wendy has a nonprofit, and I'm going to let you go ahead and tell us about it.
Okay, so since 1985, I have a company, and it's called Windy City Entertainment. Why? Well, first of all, it has my name in it, and it implies where I'm from, which is the Windy City, Chicago.
Hey, shy.
And yes, I'm a shy girl. And our mission is to create content and opportunities that educate, inspire, and empower people of African descent. Okay. And the way that we plan to do this is through books, online classes, performances, etc. We want to shed a spotlight on the accomplishments of African Americans.
Created, honest, magazine, oh yeah.